Welcome to the new tutorial. Today we will create this abstract organic animation using geometry nodes in Blender. To create the animation, go to the geometry node editor. With the cube selected, click New to create a new node tree. We won't need group input, we may delete it. And to add a primitive, press Shift A and select icosphere. Now let's create lines on its surface. To do this, add instance on points node. And as instance we use curveline primitive. Now as we can see, a line has been created on each vertex of our icosphere. To make the lines were directed from the center of the sphere, add a line rotation to vector node. And we will specify normal as the vector. So it uses the sphere normals and rotates the lines relative to these normals. We can increase the number of the lines by adding subdivisions. Now let's add animation to our lines. For this, add Realize Instances node, making each line unique. Let's add Set Position node. In the offset parameters, we connect Noise Texture. It's important to connect Color parameter. As we see, there has been a shift relative to the center. In order for the deformation to begin, act from the 0 point, subtract 0.5. Let's switch Noise Texture mode to 4D. Now, by moving W parameter, we see that our noise texture is animated. But since each line has only 2 points, it doesn't look organic. Add Resample Curve node. I will set up 20 subdivisions. It looks very chaotic. To make it look more organic, reduce scale parameters so the noise will become smoother. And now, as we see, by moving the W parameter, our lines start moving. To make the animation automatic, add Scene Time node and connect Frame parameter to W. If we turn on the animation by pressing the space bar, then we'll see that the animation works, but too fast. I'll open Timeline. In order to control the speed, we will add Map Range node. The animation goes from the first frame to the 250th. And so we indicate these parameters here. From the first to the 250th frame. Let's set parameter 1. And now our lines are moving. We may increase the speed. For example, by entering parameter 3. As we see, our lines are moving at the speed we need. We will also add a vector math node in multiply mode. And here I want to draw attention to the fact that the line also moves vertically. Let's multiply this parameter by 5. That is, it jumps. But we need the line to move from left to right without changing its length. For this, we multiply the vector along the z-axis by 0. And thus, the height will not change. and there will be a smooth movement from side to side. The next problem we will solve is to make sure that there is no movement at the starting point, and the movement became maximum at the end point of the segment. To do this, duplicate the vector math node in set scale mode, and also add spline parameter node, and set factor parameter as the scale. And in order to increase the intensity, we duplicate the vector math node again in scale mode and increase the scale by 2. And as we see, the endpoints are moving and the starting point stands still. Now we will add thickness to our lines using curve to mesh node. As a profile, we will set curve circle primitive. Let's reduce the resolution and set the radius to 0.05. Also, we'll fill the caps. And, as we can see, the lines are moving. But there is a clear geometry in the distribution of these lines. To make it more chaotic, let's add distribute points on faces node at the very beginning. Thus, we create points not at the vertices of our sphere, but distribute them in a random order over the entire surface. We can control the density using density parameter. And as we can see, now we have lost the reference to the normals because we transformed our sphere into points, and the points have no information about normals. And so the line is simply located vertically up. In order to return our placement, connect normal parameter from distribute points on faces instead of the original normal node. And now our lines have returned to their previous position. Now they are arranged in a more chaotic order, where no clear geometry can be traced. Now let's make the ends of the lines rounded. To do this, we will add a sphere at each end. For that, we need exactly the lines before they got the thickness. In order to place the spheres at the end points, add instance on points node again. As an instance, we add a UV sphere, reducing the resolution parameters. We need to set exactly the same radius as the thickness of our line. In this case, it is 0.05. As we see, the spheres were made, but at every point and not just at the end ones. In order for them to be only on the end points, add endpoint selection node and connect it to selection. And now the vertices are at the starting and ending points. In order to connect this geometry to our main one, add join geometry node and connect it here. As we can see, a sphere has appeared at each end. To make it smoother, we'll add set shade smooth node. And as we see, we've got rounded ends. To make our animation more interesting and more organic, I'll add another animation for our starting points. I duplicate the vector math node in scale mode, add it to offset. As an offset, I will take the same texture that we made. After add node, I'll add it to the vector. And now, as we see, the starting points are also moving. And with the help of the scale node, we can control the force of the impact. I'll leave it at 1. And now, if we look at the overall result, we see how both lines and starting points move. That is, the sphere itself. I'll set the scale to 1 to make it more wavy. And I'll add Set Material mode to proceed to creating material. I will also add Realize Instance node to realize the duplicated spheres. This will come in handy when creating material. I will also set a camera. I'll press Ctrl Alt numpad 0 and the camera will set to my current view. I'll go to the render settings. As a renderer, I will select Cycles GPU Compute. We'll reduce the number of samples. 100. To make the picture more saturated, I will set the color management to Chronos PBR and high contrast. We may switch to viewport shading mode. I'll also check to noise box to remove the noise. And we can move on to setting up the material. I'll go straight to the world shader settings. For lighting, we will use 2 background nodes. The black one will be our background and the white one will illuminate our object. And to mix them, we use light path node and camera ray parameter. So what we see is black. And what illuminates the object is the white background. We may reduce this parameter to control the illumination. I think that's enough. Let's return to the object's material. I'll add gradient node to make a gradient from the center of the sphere. And we'll connect it here. I will also add mapping and texture coordinate nodes. And we'll select object parameter. Now the gradient is arranged from minus to plus, because it's linear. And we will set it to spherical mode. And now, to make our gradient visible, let's edit scale parameter. And so we get darker ends and a lighter middle. For better setup, I will add color ramp node. This is how the gradient works. I duplicate color ramp node, and I will set the desired colors here. The first color will be blue and the second pink. I'll switch the mode from RGB to HSV. Leave near parameter. And now, by moving this slider, we can control the gradient. Also, by adding an intermediate point, we can control even better. Let's add some emission. And in order to create an outline around the line, we use sheen parameter. I'll set weight to 1. And as roughness, we will connect layer weight node. The parameter is facing. And as we can see, a halo appeared around them. You may choose something interesting as a color. I picked turquoise. This is it with weight parameter equal to 0. And now with the parameter equal to 1. Also, to create a more interesting composition, I duplicate the sphere. And I'll move one closer to the camera. I'll also go to the camera settings and enable depth of field parameter. I will choose the distant sphere as a focal object. And I'll adjust the f-stop parameter to increase the blur in the foreground. And in this way we get the organic animation. You may also rotate it at a random angle. And our animation is ready. Like the video and see you soon.